All right, in this lesson, we're going to be talking about sign numbers raised to powers. All right, there's a couple of rules you need to be familiar with. The first rule, it says if a negative base is in parentheses, two things can either happen. If the exponent is even, then the answer will be positive, and if the exponent is odd, then the answer will be negative. In other words, negative base. Put the parentheses, let's pick -2. All right, so this is where the exponent goes. Now, if the exponent is even, let's say 2, or it could be 4, or it could be 6, 8, 10, and so on, my answer will always be positive. All right, so -2 squared, that's the same thing as saying -2 times -2. Negative times negative is a positive. 2 times 2 is 4, so it'll be +4. Or it'll be -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. That gives me a positive value. Now, if I take negative, which is inside the parentheses, and the exponent is odd, in other words, 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on, my answer will always be negative. So -2 to the third power will be -2 times -2 times -2, which is negative times negative times negative is negative. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So I get -8. What's nice about this is if you're doing multiple choice, if my answer have a -2 inside parentheses and it's an even number, then I know my answer has to be positive. And if it's negative inside parentheses and my exponent is odd, then I know it has to be a negative. All right, let's look at rule number 2. If negative is not in the parentheses, then the negative is not part of the base and the answer is negative. In other words, the negative is on the outside of the parentheses. It's not in there. So no matter what the exponent, this could be even or odd, it doesn't matter. My answer will always be negative because it's negative out here. All right. Now here comes, so that's the rules you need to know for powers of negative numbers. All right. So let's look at a couple examples. Let's look at the first one. Let's see. This is inside. So my answer and my power is even, so therefore it's going to be a positive number, and 3 squared is 9, so my answer is +9. Here I have a negative on the inside of the parentheses, and my power is odd, so I know my answer is going to be negative. All I have to do now is do 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Now, if you look at this one, it says -3 squared. There's no parentheses. All right? In other words, it's the same thing as saying this. They mean the same thing. So you notice either the negative's out in front of the parentheses or there's no parentheses. That means if it's a negative, it stays a negative. And then 3 squared is 9. All right, here I have a negative, no parentheses, so I know my answer is going to be negative. 3 cubed is 27, so I get -27. All right, so let's do some more examples. All right. Here there's no negative at all, so my answer is automatically be positive, so 2 times 2 is 4. Negative is not in parentheses, so there's going to be -4. Number 3, the negative is inside, so I know my answer is going to be negative because the exponent is odd, so therefore 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, so my answer is -8. Negative on the inside, even power, so my answer is going to be positive, and 2 squared is 4. Negative is, there's no parentheses, so my answer is negative, and 2 cubed is 8. Same thing here, negative is not in the parentheses, so therefore my answer is going to be negative, and 2 to the 4th is 16. Let's look at number 7. Negatives on the inside, it's even power, so therefore my answer is positive, and 2 to the 4th is 16. Here, negative is on the inside, so therefore, and my power is odd, so therefore it's going to be negative, and then 2 to the 5th is 32. That's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Right? You can use a calculator if you need to. Number 9, negative, there's no parentheses, so my answer is going to be negative. Number 10, there's no parentheses, and there's a negative, so my answer is going to be negative. Number 11, negative is inside the parentheses and is an even power, so I know my answer is going to be a positive. Right? So then 2 to the 6 is 64. 2 to the 5th is 32. 2 to the 6 is 64. All right? So that's how you deal with negatives and with parentheses. It's all about location of the negative. All right?